21 million barrels of crude moving every single day through a gap just 21 miles wide. That's not just a shipping lane, that's a pressure point. And if that point snaps, the shockwave doesn't stay in the ocean. It hits your fuel prices, your food supply, your electricity. Tonight we're breaking down how one narrow strip of water called the Strait of Hormuz could bring global trade to a standstill before sunrise. The world's most dangerous shortcut, the Strait of Hormuz sits between Iran and Oman. It connects the Persian Gulf to the open ocean, and more importantly, it connects the world to its energy lifeline. Roughly 1/5 of the world's oil supply passes through here. Tankers from Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Kuwait, and the United Arab Emirates all funnel through this single corridor. But here's the catch. At its narrowest point, shipping lanes are only about 2 miles wide in each direction. 2 lanes for the energy needs of an entire planet. A bottleneck waiting to break. Imagine a 6-lane highway suddenly forced into a single narrow bridge. Now imagine that bridge is surrounded by geopolitical tension. That's Hormuz. The region has seen decades of friction, especially involving Iran and global powers like the United States. There have been close calls before. Seized tankers, drone surveillance, naval standoffs. Nothing full-scale yet, but the system doesn't need a war to break. It just needs a spark. The midnight scenario. Let's walk through a realistic worst-case scenario. No dramatic invasion. No full war declaration, just a limited naval skirmish. A patrol vessel is hit. Tensions spike instantly. Within hours, defensive measures escalate. And then, the real disruption begins. A handful of naval mines are deployed in key transit lanes. Not hundreds, just enough. Because here's the terrifying part. You don't need to block the strait completely. You just need to make it too dangerous to cross. When ships stop moving, the moment mines are suspected, shipping companies freeze, insurance companies pull coverage overnight. No insurer wants to risk billion-dollar tankers. Ports begin rejecting incoming vessels. Shipping schedules collapse like dominoes. Even if the strait is technically still open, it becomes functionally closed. Tankers halt. Cargo ships reroute. Delays multiply. And within 24 hours, the global supply chain starts choking. Energy shockwaves, oil markets react instantly. Prices don't rise slowly, they spike. We're talking double-digit jumps in hours. Countries that depend heavily on imported oil, especially in Asia and Europe, start tapping emergency reserves, but reserves aren't infinite. Refineries begin slowing down. Fuel distribution tightens, and suddenly, it's not just about oil. It's about everything oil touches, from fuel to food. No fuel means no transport. No transport means empty shelves. Trucks stop running regular routes. Shipping delays hit food imports. Fertilizer production slows down. Even local food prices start climbing because the entire system is connected. That loaf of bread, it depends on fuel at every stage. Farming, processing, packaging, delivery. When energy stumbles, everything else follows. Industrial standstill. Now zoom out to the industrial world. Factories rely on stable energy, consistent shipping, predictable costs. Take that away even briefly, and production lines stall. Manufacturers pause orders. Export schedules collapse. Global trade contracts almost instantly. This isn't a slow recession, it's a sudden freeze. Why the world can't easily reroutate. You might be thinking, can't ships just go around? Here's the problem. There's no true alternative route that replaces Hormuz at scale. Pipelines exist, yes, but they handle only a fraction of the volume. And rerouting tankers around Africa, that adds weeks to delivery times and massive additional costs. In a system built on speed and efficiency, that delay is catastrophic. The psychological factor. Here's something people often overlook. Markets don't just react to reality, they react to fear of what could happen next. Once Hormuz becomes unstable, confidence disappears, investors panic, currencies fluctuate, stock markets dip globally. Even countries not directly involved feel the ripple effects. Because in today's world, everything is connected. How fast could this happen? Faster than most people expect. Within hours, shipping halts. Within a day, oil prices surge. Within days, supply chains strain. Before sunrise, the foundation of global trade could already be shaking. Why this bottleneck still exists? So why hasn't the world fixed this vulnerability? Because it's not easy. Geography can't be changed. Infrastructure takes decades. Politics complicates everything. And for years, the system has relied on one fragile assumption, that this choke point will remain open. Final thought. The Strait of Hormuz isn't just a location on a map. It's a reminder that the global economy, for all its complexity and scale, still depends on a few narrow threads. And sometimes, all it takes is one thread snapping to unravel everything.